The Bears are leaving Washington with a win. 25-24 is your final score. 3 straight wins now for the Bears. Jim, I want to start with you because I know you just told us that you're at a watch party at the Wind Creek Casino. What were the emotions like?
I was kind of telling you guys before, I did this watch party last year, and it was the Fail Mary that you just brought up, Tina, and you wouldn't believe just how irate people were. And the same people came back to this watch party that I remembered from a year ago. And if you would have seen this room, this sports book, this is a beautiful facility, by the way, it went bananas in here. I mean, the whole sports book, and we probably had it easily well over 200 people just erupted that the Bears got this victory. So it's almost like the agony defeat last year and the thrill of victory, and to see the same fans, just a total emotional difference of what it was a year ago. And that's what winning does. You know, the Bears now have a winning record. They won a game, and that's a signature win to go on the road and beat Washington and how they lost a season ago. So it tells you the incremental improvements I think this team is making and the impact that they're having on their fans.
Absolutely. It feels good to be on this side of things. I'm sure everyone was hyped there. We were also really hyped about it while we were watching this game. But, I mean, let's go ahead and dive deep into this one. First off, the defense, the turnovers, Deshaun Wright, Jake Moody, he was cut from San Francisco, I believe you said week 2, right?
Week 2, yeah.
And oh my goodness, but Caleb Williams, up and down game here. Jim, I want to start with you. What did you see from Caleb Williams tonight?
I thought early, he's always been good early in the games. And I think the Bears, they got the turnovers. They took advantage of it. Unfortunately, they couldn't cash in and score touchdowns. But then as the game went on, it became more shaky. You know, he missed some throws. Yeah. Some could have been intercepted. They were in harm's way. But then he rebounded. You know, there's nothing he can do when Zacchaeus drops that late drop late in the game. But at the end of the day, the Bears defense gives the Bears offense a chance. Mm-hmm. And he manages the clock beautifully to take them down, to put them in field goal range. And that's all you can ask him to do. Go out and win your team the game when you have the ball last. And he did that. But there were a lot of ups and downs throughout the game. Good early, shaky, good at the end. So it was inconsistent, but at the end of the day, just keep playing. Just keep playing. Don't worry about the bad plays. Mm-hmm. You saw him get frustrated as the game went on. Put it behind you. And he was able to put it behind him, and when it mattered the most, drove the team the yardage that they needed to get a game-winning field goal. So all-around good ending for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you saw him put it on that Superman cape there. The Bears defense today with 3 turnovers. What did you guys see from Caleb Williams? As tonight he finished 17 of 29, 252 yards and a touchdown.
Listen, you can't say that it was a perfect game, right? It was a game that there were definitely some struggles in. But I thought you saw a game where Caleb Williams drove the team down, overcame what has to be one of the worst referee games we've seen of this year.
Oh, yeah, we're going to definitely talk about that, yeah.
We got to break that down as well. But I thought in that second half, right, that touchdown to Roma Dunze gets called back. Felt really good about that drive. You got to overcome that, though. And it became, okay, is Caleb at the end of this game going to be able to do enough to get the job done? And even, I thought on that last drive, just do enough to where DeAndre Swift can kind of carry the load there. And that's sometimes all you need. Football's a team game. I know we want to make it all about the quarterback. I know it has to all be on his shoulders, but it takes all 11 guys on offense to be able to go out there and win a football game. And I think that's what you saw on that last drive, including the new Jake Moody to the Chicago Bears.
I mean, you want to talk about specifically what we learned about Caleb, and we talk about the one thing the quarterback cannot do, and especially in that moment, is make a mistake, make a sack. Fumble the football. We saw that earlier in the game. He had that snap slip out of his way. It was a little bit on Drew Dahlman going a little wide, a little high on that snap. But in this specific instance, he took care of the ball. He did what he needed to do. On that little sweep play where he goes left, he slides to stay in bounds and that kind of stuff. These are the small plays that add up in the crunch time that people may overlook when you're talking about having a primetime quarterback and having that Superman type quarterback where, he didn't make the game-winning play, but he put them in a position to have that game-winning play.
When I was watching this game, at one point I thought to myself, no matter the outcome, it seemed like the bye week, the Bears figured something out with the run game. Jim, what did you see tonight from DeAndre Swift and this run game?
I did. I thought early they ran the outside really well, and they came back to it late in the game. He had his biggest runs to the outside. I was hoping as the game went along that they'd call it more often, but they ran it early and they ran it late, and those seems to be the plays there. really where they made a lot of hay running the football. Hey, I'm not opposed to running inside, but to me, that's where Washington is weak as a football team. They're not big at their edge players, and the Bears were attacking it early, and I thought they should have went back to it a lot earlier than what they did than late in the game. But, hey, Ben called a great game, in my opinion. I agree with the assessment on the penalties. There were some questionable calls, especially the roughing the passer calls on Jaden Daniels. The first one, a forcible blow by Montez Sweat. He was just swatting at the ball. I've been politicking forever that should not be a 15-yard penalty, a personal foul, and a first down, because they're just trying to, they're not going to hurt the quarterback by, swatting at the ball and inadvertently hitting the helmet. Then the last one on Brisker, that was definitely within the strike zone. They're told not to go low, but if you look where his shoulder pads hit, it's between the knees and the bottom of the chest. And Brisker was in that strike zone, and to me, that was a bad call all the way around. But I wish they would have went to the outside zone a lot more consistently throughout the entirety of the game, but they went to it when it mattered the most.
I mean, Pat, when we were watching, we were talking about the penalties, man.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Especially with this refereeing crew.
No, 100%. It's a new refereeing crew, first time referee in there, and you're going to have some of those moments where you have to know they're going to be a little bit more ticky-tacky early on, trying to make a name for yourself, right? But I think here's the thing. It's about, at a certain point, you got to overcome that no matter what. If Jaden Daniels finds a way to win this game, the Commanders aren't going to go, well, the refs really took that ball game away from us. They're going to say, we found a way to win the ball game and overcame the adversity that was there. I think what you saw from Caleb Williams in this offense, and I'll say the team as a whole at the end of that game, in that fourth quarter, overcoming some of those tough calls, overcoming some of those calls that may go against you. That was stuff we weren't seeing in week 1 and 2 of the season. That was stuff we didn't see at all last season with the previous coaching regime. I think that's a true step in the right direction of, yes, these penalties are going to be there, but you know what? If we lock down and we handle what we can handle, we can still find a way to win ball games versus good football teams. The Commanders are a good football team. Just because the Bears beat them, they don't all of a sudden become a bad football team like I'm sure social media is going to do.
I mean, I want to talk about the penalties that weren't called. And what I mean by that is I want to talk about, a refereeing crew that is, trying to make names for itself, that's going out there throwing flags.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that we saw that were bad, the legal formation one on Theo Benedict, I know we can all agree that was not a foul.
At all.
But I want to talk about, if you have a crew that is looking, if you say, give me a reason to call this penalty, the offensive line did not give them that many reasons, specifically Theo Benedict, specifically Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
We're seeing guys that came into their own today that towed the line between physicality and agility. There was a specific play, I believe, where Darnell Wright sprung DeAndre Swift, where he was pulling and he sealed off 2 guys and let him cut right on the inside. That's the kind of thing that you drafted Darnell Wright for. That's the kind of thing, that's the talent that Ryan Poles saw in him coming out of Tennessee, and Theo Benedict too. We're talking about the one thing that Dan Rochard told me earlier this week during, I believe it was Friday when they were talking to the assistant coaches. He said the one thing that Theo does, a real reason he was able to rise up the depth chart during the preseason and training camp, is because he learns. He takes a lot of the reps. If he has a bad rep, he learns from it, and then he puts a good one in front of him. And that's what we've seen consistently from Theo. And on the left side, against this really tough physical Washington front, he not only held his own, but he helped spring DeAndre Swift. I mean, well over 100 yards, over 160 yards from scrimmage, the 55-yard touchdown that he had, the reception that he had. He's not sprung without the offensive line guys.